Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Zenitsu, and you're listening to the Digi Talks podcast, the show that covers various topics from news to meta developments and everything in between for the fine folks who love the Digimon trading card game. Just as a quick reminder, I do try to stream this live over on twitch.tv/Zenitsu, usually on Tuesday nights or Wednesday, and fear not if you ever miss the live show, because I always upload the video on the YouTube channel of Zenitsu, as well as various podcasting platforms like Spotify for your viewing and listening pleasure, usually on Thursday mornings. So please feel free to do the whole social media doobly-doo thing and leave that rating, like, follow, subscribe, review, whatever, depending on the platform that you're listening on. It really does help support the podcast, or at least we'd like to think it does. So I am back with Jay Stewart today, and we have basically a lot of onlooking stuff to talk about. So we're going to be talking about all of the future products that are going to be coming out soon. At least all that we know of, because Bandai decided to drop another one, to no one's surprise. And we also have a new episode of Beat Break to talk about, and we also do have Time Stranger DLC to talk about. So it's going to be quite interesting. So if you want to be a part of the podcast, make sure to leave a comment and we might read it in the next episode. Or if you have a question for us, then we could read that as well. But I guess with all that said and done, we should probably just jump right into it. We could start with anime, like we always do. You watched episode 10, right?
Yes, I did. I
Okay.
got too hyped up after episode 9 to miss episode 10.
Yeah, episode 10 was actually really good. Um we got an evolution, but it's not the one we probably, I mean, based on episode 9, it was the one we were expecting, but not the one we were kind of like waiting for and wanted to see. Um so that's kind of like the light spoiler territory. Now going into some heavy spoilers. It was a very good episode. It continued off of episode 9, obviously, where we had Makoto face off against Shademon and have his Digimon get captured. So it was the fallout from that. And we got a peer inside of the life of, what's her face? I'm blanking on her name because she was the new character that they introduced last episode with Shaitramon. Um,
Yeah,
no,
I,
it's
I wish.
not Rene. I'm just trying. I'm flipping through the wiki to try to find uh Haruko. There we go.
Yeah.
Haruko. So Chiperamon or Chiropimon was kidnapped, and we gotta learn more about Haruko and her past. So that was kind of neat and kind of sad at the same time, because I felt like the theme of this, like these two episodes, was like abuse in a sense.
hmm Or abuse and being used, I guess.
Yeah, it's a form of abuse, because like last episode we saw Haruko just like absolutely slap around Shadramon. So like that was kind of brutal, and the mentality behind, oh, other Digimon are just toys, they're playthings, which is exactly how Haruko's dad basically treated her, except we learned in this episode that Haruko's dad was about to betray her and sell out her own daughter just to be able to um, live a more comfier life because he hated her daughter. So I was just like, whoa, okay. Pretty dark stuff here. And then we actually got to see Makoto bond a little bit more with Chiropmon and unlock his Digivolution into Knight's Chiropmon. So, what'd you think of the champion that we did get?
Love the design. I mean, it seems more like a supporter, not like a powerhouse Digimon, if that makes sense. Because obviously, in the episode, Shagemon takes over Geckomon and Wolvermon as well, and Night Shagemon's got this weird ability where it's actually able to just remove status or something like that, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. Because, like, he literally just waved it. Nitromon just literally waved their hand, and all of a sudden, Gekomon and Wolvermon were just back to normal.
Yeah, it's he's still like a sensory Digimon. So he has like some shadow art type stuff, and he's got ultrasonic stuff, a little bit of electromagnetism. So like he's just a fully decked out champion who looks pretty cool. But I think like the big thing that this evolution showed us is maybe the level of bond that you need to have with your Digimon in order to achieve evolution. So kind of like what we were saying with Tomoro and Gekomon, where Tomoro didn't bond enough with Gekomon, or like bond together with Gekomon to be able to understand Gekomon and vice versa, to where they trust each other so much that evolution is possible into the champion stage, because they were kind of hitting us over the head with the theme of your Digimon partner is a reflection of yourself. So they mentioned that multiple times with Haruko, and Haruko really didn't want to believe that Shadramon, this semi-evil looking manipulation Digimon, was her like self-reflection. And it kind of was more of a self-reflection of her dad, but like maybe that's kind of like a peer into her life more than an actual reflection of her as a character. And she, or like any partner and Digimon, needs to overcome like not really a shared trauma, because she went through a lot of trauma in this episode, but they need to have like a certain level of understanding and comfort in that understanding to unlock evolution. At least that's me reading probably way too much into it. But Digimon usually tries to be sort of this deep. I say try to because not all the seasons are like this. So, yeah. But obviously, as far as what happens in the rest of the episode, you had the dad have the kidnapped golden Numemons. He was going to sell them to a secret organization that was in turn going to basically give him a fake egg to be able to fake his ID so he could live a happy, comfortable life. Obviously, that didn't pan through. Kyo caught wind of this and basically went there to stop the organization and get Shiropmon back. But as you said, he was caught up fighting the possessed Gekomon and Wolvermon. So it was really up to Makoto to tackle Shadramon, who fused with his owner. So that was kind of cool. Not the first time we've seen that. At least in the anime, I think it is, but in the manga for Cross Wars, Cross Wars, we saw Shadramon fuse with Nene. So that's not a new concept. We just have a new fusion.
Yeah, it's just like a darker version of the Cross Wars version. Is what it was, more or less.
Yeah.
Because I think Name Fusion's like a more pure white. This one was like a dark blood red, black kind of look to it.
Yeah, obviously very Dark Angel-y vibes, which was kind of cool to see. And I'm trying to remember, did we actually learn anything new, or is this more of just the Fallout episode from what was set up in episode 9?
I think the only new thing that we learned is that there's actually people that are like, I mean, obviously it was hinted in episode 9, but we now see like these faces, sort of say, or representations of these people that are in this quote unquote black market to buy these Digimon up and everything. They're looking for like high value target Digimon. Like the moment they caught wind of Shurupmon, they did not care about the Golden Numemons. They're like, we just want that one. Like they're kind of like the Team Rocket of Digimon, I guess, so to say.
Yeah, a more serious Team Rocket. So maybe they're
Oh, with
setting
guns,
up.
yes.
Yeah, maybe they're setting up them to be a reoccurring antagonist, because based on the OP and like some of the previous information, like it was kind of alluded to that one of the factions, like there's just going to be interfaction war. Um, but who knows? Anything can happen because this is Digimon and we're still super early and still learning a lot. Um, but speaking of learning a lot, we did see in the preview for episode 11 that Tomoro is using his, in quotation marks, dark beat to influence Geckomon again. That was like the post credit scene for setting up episode 11.
Yeah, so like in episode 3 where we saw Gekumon's eyes turn black and everything and just become OP, it looks like Tomoro's about to encounter the Digimon that took his brother's I'm trying to think what they call it, beat and everything. So I guess he's about to lose control when he sees that Digimon.
Well, the interesting thing is we through episodes 10 and like 9 and 10, we're slowly learning a little bit more about what beat can do, especially how it influences a Digimon, because we saw that in episode 9, Haruko forced Shapiromon to basically ingest her beat through the egg because he was being manipulated by Shadramon. And in episode 10, he actively refused to eat her beat subconsciously because he was still somewhat under the influence of Shadramon. Um, but he also had like his own, not necessarily free will. He was just very passive or submissive. And he refused to eat Haruko's beat because it was the incorrect beat. But when Haruko forced him to eat his beat, he was basically completely obedient towards her. So something's going on with what beat actually means and how it's used for what where Digimon are and what they're able to do. Because we also learn like attacks basically use up a certain amount of beat because Makoto knew about Shapiromons like actually his big attack, which was what was the attack's name? It was like ultrasonic echo or something, or condensed echo.
Condensed Echo.
Yeah, so he knew about it. He was just like, I didn't feel like I could give Shapiromon or Shiropomon enough beat to be able to use that and not tire himself out. So I never had him use that before. But now he unlocked evolution and he's not afraid to give him more beat to be able to do more things. So I don't know. Beat is still very mysterious, but I feel like we're slowly learning more and more what it is as a mechanic to this world.
Yeah, because I mean, like we've been seeing like beat be like a major theme like throughout all the episodes. Like with Pandemon, I don't remember what episode that was,
That was
or
like
even just
episode
like
4 or 5, somewhere around there.
something like that. Yeah, and then we even like episode 8 with like Tomoro's beat in particular when Mimicmon was trying to absorb it. Like something was wrong with that. So clearly, like there is something going on about these whole beats that we don't quite know too much about yet.
Yeah, obviously. So, like, there's still a lot to learn, and based on the preview for episode 11, it really feels like maybe by episode 12, as like the anime season comes to a close, that's going to be the finale that allows Tomoro and Geckomon to digivolve. Otherwise, like, I really don't know when they're going to be doing it. Not that I think it's an issue, it's just definitely different because most stories would have had their protagonist evolve by now, and we technically did get a champion first time reveal evolution. It just wasn't the Digimon we were anticipating. I mean, we kind of knew based on episode 9, but it definitely feels like Geckomon should be evolving within the next couple of episodes. I'm still on the soft prediction of episode 12. Other than that, like my only other timing wise is maybe episode 15. That feels too late because they really need to start like ramping up the story, I feel like, because it's only going to be 50 episodes.
I feel like what we might see potentially with episode 11 is probably going to be this. This is just me BS guessing here, okay? But obviously, episode 10 shows the Jesus, you just said his name too. I'm sorry. I can't think. Well, we see Churomon finally digivolve and everything. So like you were maybe saying, like maybe Tomoro finally gets the wants to achieve that same power level, so to say. And obviously when he sees the Digimon that took his brother's beat and everything, he kind of does the whole dark evolution, digivolution thing we might have been seeing hinted in episode 3. And then episode 11 like would actually be continuation of that, and episode 12 could be the idea of perfecting the actual proper evolution for Gekomon. Maybe, just an idea.
I mean, it's entirely possible because like Digimon's not afraid of like dark evolutions. We, especially with protagonist characters, we've only seen half of them do it, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. And I would say like, oh, most dark evolutions are in the ultimate stage. It's just like, yeah, but also if you think back to Ghost
Gamamon.
games, yeah, Gamamon had his dark evolution. He had a whole dark evolution line technically. So yeah, um, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but it definitely feels like we're going to be reaching some kind of a climax within the next episode or two. Um, as again, the anime season, the what are we, fall? Yeah, fall anime season comes to a close and winter is going to be starting. Um, I don't know if you're like deep into anime stuff, but winter seems super packed. Like super packed for anime. Are you planning on watching anything in the winter other than more Digimon?
Hard to say, honestly. It's like I said, it's gotta be appealing and catching my eye kind of thing. Because I mean, I was trying to watch Sakamoto Days, but I kind of fell off of that one. Just pacing of that, or I don't know, just something about it. I did like watching Ways of the House Husband and everything because it was just like a comedy little skit thing. I mean, I'd probably keep watching that if they ever did more of that one, but
Yeah, so just as a little like I'm probably going to be doing my anime like what I'm watching video that I want to start doing. And this season is so stacked. So we have Frieren season 2, Hell's Paradise season 2, Jujutsu Kaisen The Culling Games part 1. We have Oshinoko season 3, Fire Force season 3 part 2. Finally we get Fate Strange Fake. Then we get Chain Soldier Season 2, Sentenced to be a Hero, My Hero Academia Vigilante Season 2, Trigun Stargaze, which is the Studio Orange Star Trigun. You get more Golden Kamui, although I have a lot of Golden Kamui to catch up on. Medalist Season 2. I believe we get Beastars Season 3 Part 2 as well. So like there's a lot, and that's like barely even scratching the surface in terms of like new stuff outside of Sentence to be a Hero being like the big new thing people are anticipating. Um so yeah, it's going to be really fun to try to dig through everything and find some extra fun stuff to watch on top of what's already continuing, because obviously One Piece is still continuing, Digimon is still continuing. I don't know if anything else is continuing or not. Uh, yeah, so it's already looking super packed in terms of a anime season. But that's just anime. And I guess speaking of Digimon, we do know more information about the Time Strangers DLC. So take the floor, Maestro.
yeah. So I think it was like literally the like 3 days before its release date, they actually revealed the release date trailer for it, which ended up being December 8th, so 2 days ago. Um, I don't want to spoil anything about what it is, but a couple things. So obviously they said that there's technically 6 Digimon that you can unlock in each episode pack. Correction, with this very first one, it actually is 6. Although if you just get any of the episode packs, because it sounds like they might actually be splitting up the episode packs a little bit, um, you will actually get 6 Digimon, not 5. It just depends like if you get episode pack 1 very like right off the bat, you're going to get 6 Digimon. But then if you get episode pack 2, then it's just 5. It's just at any point you get any of those episodes, you get the 6th one. It's kind of the thing. It sounds like.
Okay.
And also like I did complete the episode pack 1. That added 4 hours into my gameplay, just so you're aware. And
That's not a bad chunk of time.
well, yeah, and especially if each episode pack is gonna be theoretically 4 hours, then that means it's like in total like $30. You get like 12 hours more of content, plus you get 16 new Digimon actually.
That's not terrible. I think it's still a little bit on the expensive side, but it's not awful. I mean, for an RPG, it's pretty decent because RPGs barely get DLC. Um, so like, I'm still not done with my playthrough. I really desperately need to find time to just sit down and play it on stream. So like, how far into the game do I need to be to actually play the DLC?
Based on what I was seeing online, because I was when December 10th came around, I was trying to play the game in. For some reason, I guess they didn't announce the actual time frame. It was like 6 p.m. my time, CST, when it actually officially dropped. But it sounded like, based on what I was seeing online, you had to be rate agent or agent rank 8, if I understood it correctly.
Okay. So I haven't made any progress in the game, just been super busy. So I really need to get on that. I'm debating, like, do you think it's a good idea to jump into the DLC before completing the store, like the main campaign, or does it feel more post game?
No, I think it definitely is like so. Like I said, you have to be Agent Rank 8 or I can rank 8. That's how you got to be for the game. And at that point, you're kind of already towards the end game of like the actual main story, depending if you actually complete all the side quests or not. Um, but I mean, for the most part, it kind of ties in with the actual story in a nutshell. Like, it doesn't necessarily. I don't think it has any kind of influence on if it's something you complete after you beat the game or if it's something you complete before you beat the game. I don't think it has a major influence. I mean, you just have access to more Digi-Evolution route lines.
Okay. That doesn't sound
Because
too bad.
like just like for a small example here, like where Garurumon before the DLC, he only had two evolution routes. You could go down from where Garurumon to Omega, but now with the DLC, he now has three. As a small example.
Okay. Because I was debating about how I handle the DLC when I get to the ability to use it. So maybe I'll have the uniqueness in quotation marks of my playthrough being influenced by the DLC. Do we know when the other packs are supposed to come out, or are those still like unknown?
Yes, so we know episode 2 will come out sometime between January through March, and the last one will come out sometime between April through June.
Okay. So not realistically a good idea for me to wait for all of those DLCs to come out and finish my playthrough with all of the DLCs in mind, but yeah, I guess it just gives me a reason to go back and uh play those DLCs when they come out. Which I guess is like the point of like post-game DLC is like to entice new player or not new players, returning players to have something to come back to.
Yeah, and it just even gives you a different way to, like, take me for example. I've already beat the game. Now, if I decide to do the Mega difficulty or Mega Plus, now I have more Digivolution branches I could try to explore into team building for the game.
Yes.
So it makes my experience for the next playthrough a little bit more unique.
I get you. I get you. Was there? I don't. I'm not gonna ask for like any story spoilers when it comes to that. But like, did you feel like you already said that it's just a side story, it's kind of just disconnected from the main game?
To a degree, yes.
Yeah. So like what kind of it like what's the synopsis of the actual story for this? Cuz this is the
So
Omnimon chapter, right?
yes, so practically the entire idea of this DLC is there's this Digimon called Parallelmon. Uh, that's the sixth Digimon you could unlock if you were to get the season pass or any of these episodes. That's your sixth or 16th Digimon you get. I'm pretty sure it's Parallelmon, it's Paradoxmon, or something like that. One of those things.
Yep.
Either way. Um, but practically, this Digimon has the capability of creating multiverses. If this makes sense, so you're like travel between the different dimensions. It, I don't know if I'm probably properly explaining that, but
I think
he's
that's good
able to.
enough.
Yeah, like it just he's literally going into like all these alternate timelines, kind of like what Agiomon or not Agiomon. I'm sorry. It's
Jupiter?
like a yeah Jupiter, or it's just kind of like this whole like time and space distortion thing he's creating, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
So like yeah, shocking the I'm trying to blank how it's pronounced. The Akisha records or the back rooms, whatever, like the little theater area you go to, that's its own separate time and space distortion, and then his is a separate thing within that as well.
Okay.
Like think of him as Kang from Marvel, if that makes sense. That's probably a better way of explaining it.
Okay. That and now I get it. Now I get it a little bit better. Yeah.
Like that's the best way I could explain this, honestly,
That's fine.
without trying to go too much into it.
I think that's good. So, it sounds like you had a lot of fun with the DLC then.
Oh yeah, I could not put it down until after I beat the game.
Nice.
And not necessarily a spoiler, but you actually can go back and keep going through those again because there's new areas in that. I feel like there's new areas at least, so you can keep going back in there and keep doing the story over and over again. It
Oh,
seems like
okay.
so it's not a one time deal. You could keep going back.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Okay. So, I wonder if they are going to like from a card game perspective if they're going to include the DLC as cards. Obviously, it's not going to be in BT24 because all the DLC isn't going to be done by then. But like, who's to say they won't just like sprinkle some more Time Stranger promos throughout next year, just
Or
to
they could even do it
celebrate
for
the DLC.
25.
They could. They could just add in like a card or two for to represent the DLC. Like but that's if they're even going to do that. Cuz I don't think that they have done that with Cyber Sleuth like either of the games cuz those have pretty decent and extensive DLCs as well. I didn't play through all of Hacker's Memories, so I can't exactly say how impactful that DLC is, but I have played the majority of the first Cyber Sleuth game, and some of that DLC is actually really hard, but
I mean, to be fair, this I don't know if you want to start talking about the new cards, like the new next sets, but BT25 does come out in May, and it does even say it continues supporting Time Strangers. So maybe,
uh,
maybe some of
yeah,
the big ones.
yeah, maybe. So the obviously next set. So Bandai decided to do their usual thing and give us basically 6 months of information in terms of what's coming out set wise. So we know pretty much BT24, BT25, EX12, and EX11, and then we also have starter decks 20. 24. Yeah, 23 and 24. So,
And AD01.
yep, and AD01. Oh boy. We'll get there when we get there. But essentially, to kind of like go over it roughly, we know that the next set is going to be Time Strangers based, obviously based on the spoilers. Um, and that's coming out what, June? Yeah, June 26th, 2026. So that's when we're getting that set. Right now we're in spoiler season for it. Without going too deep into the exact cards, how have you been feeling about the set so far?
Uh, I mean, pretty okay for the most part. I'm seeing some cards that have been revealed that are kind of very similar. Want to say to what Time Stranger or not Time Stranger, Jesus Christ, sorry. Uh Cyber Sleuth cards are doing, but it's just like kind of that. But I feel like what they're trying to really do, and I mean really do, is like if obviously you like playing Time Stranger, there's like a new box topper for Time Stranger that I just feel like or not Time Stranger. I keep saying Time Stranger. I'm sorry. For Cyber Sleuth, there's a new box topper that's in BT24 that I feel like that's going to be the hot ticket item for everyone to grab.
What card is this?
Digi Lab. So it's a 2 cost white option card. Practically, you can use this card if you have uh, Cyber Sleuth, Trait, Digimon, or Tamer on the field. You can just ignore the color requirements. 2 costs, main, you draw 1 card, and then place it in the battle area. Then its delay is by placing the top card of any of your level 4 or higher CS Trait Digimon to the bottom of the Digivolution cards, gain 2 memory.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's their whole gimmick just in an option.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And then that's coming out. Oh, yeah, so the box toppers. Um so these are the box toppers for BT24, and some of these are like actually kind of cracked. Like uh Kotone Amano is like absolutely disgusting. That card is so good for cross hearts, it's insane. It's allowing us to digicross, like it's allowing us to use our trash more efficient, which is like already incredibly powerful because half the time our cards go into the trash. So just having basically the trash act as an extra source to be able to pull cards from is like ridiculous. Um then the big standout card to me is actually Chaosmon, because this card's like legitimately kind of gross. So he has Partition and he's got Security Attack +1. He has a Wind Digivolving ability where if you DNA'd, he just has protection, like Omni protection, like the best protection. Uh, like it's all of their effects do not affect this Digimon. Like that's
He's literally
insane.
the. It's. I literally saw a meme of it of somebody saying of the using the Omnimon on this card of, hey, can I borrow your homework? Yeah, just don't make it obvious.
Yeah, and then he has a second when digivolving when attacking where it's just minus 1,000 DP until the turn ends. No, until
10,000
the
DP.
opponent's turn ends. So it's premium DP reduction plus you just cannot influence and affect this Digimon by any kind of effects of the opponents. So like the Omni protection is already insane, but the premium DP minus is like the cherry on top. It's like this card's so good. It's probably going to be one of the best generic level 7s that we have in the game. Cuz its DNA Digivolution isn't like super hard. Where it's just a yellow Digimon and either a purple or a black Digimon. So like most of what we kind of already play, and with level 6s being like 2 to 3 colors at this point, like colors just barely even matter. So I could see like Mastimon is a really big deck that's probably going to abuse the ever living crap out of this card. um I could see this in just a couple of different decks as well. So it's a
I mean,
strong card.
it wouldn't necessarily work with Archetype, but I could theoretically throw this in with Alpha Alphamon Chronicles if I wanted to.
No, it 100% would work because black is the
Yeah,
second DNA color. So like the only thing it doesn't have is the Chronicles trait, but like yes, you theoretically could do this instead of a Alpha or Yukon.
yeah, and then I get the partition effect too. I play my guys out. Hey, they all have on plays.
Yeah, I think the Rosemond's kind of mid. It's obviously Wingardium's support, but like Wingardium's is already kind of mid, so it's like whatever. They can have a bone. I think the Millennium's kind of weird because he's technically both supports for his own Millennium deck and DM version 5, which is the Chimera stuff. So I think he's really weird. He's positioned in between like two mediocre techs, unfortunately. Um, so I'm interested. Like, it'll be weird to see what he's going to be doing if he does anything at all. He does have Assemble, so he has something going for him, I guess. His abilities are just okay. He seems more like a controlly defensive card when the deck really just needs some kind of aggression. So I don't know if they're actually going to play this or not. Then we get the new Kazuhamon, which is supposed to be support for the starter deck because it could digivolve off of Maid Mode, specifically Maid Mode. Um, and then it also interacts with Omiyu Jutsus and plugins in their trait. So anyone who's not looking to play the majority of the old Sakuyamon stuff with a splash of the new stuff, um, this is a good substitute. It also has the name where it's treated as Sakuyamon, not treated as having Sakuyamon in name, as like some of the other stuff have operated in the past. So that's technically power creep in a sense,
Yeah,
because you could
use the,
use X antibody on top of this.
yeah. I think another really just important fact of its effect is it says hand or trash to use the option card,
Yeah, because for
and
whatever reason, this is part purple. I mean, it's a purple Digimon, yes, visually purple. So I guess like making it part purple just makes sense. And then because it's purple, they have access at the trash. So yeah,
like that to me, just having access to use the option cards in the trash, that seems pretty powerful, and that means you don't need to rely on having everything in your hand. You could, oh, I used my good one earlier. This now gives you an option to use your good one a second time from the trash.
yeah. So that's going to be really interesting to see how these cards are going to be used. Obviously, Digimon does have a promo problem. So these being box toppers, I really hope they're not super stingy, um, because there's
Please
six
be
of
one of
them,
each.
and we need at least two per pack in order for these not to have abysmal off like pull rates, and for the cards to actually be somewhat accessible.
Please just give us one
Um,
of each. Like
I'm
I don't think
reading.
I don't know if they're actually going to give us one of each because they really save those for like the promo option cards that are required for every single deck, like the training cards were, the mem boosts were, um, and the oh Jesus, I'm drawing a blank on the scramble cards as well.
Oh, supposedly they're gonna have reprints. So if I'm reading this correctly, it says that they have confirmed new cards are going to be included in Time Stranger's Box Hopper Update Pack. Each pack comes with 4 cards out of 12 total. English will have 2 out of 12 for JP. Reprints included are unknown, but 6 of them are brand new. So basically, half of the update pack is reprints, and the other half is new stuff. So
Okay.
I don't know how to feel. I have very mixed feelings because one of the cards needs to be guaranteed to be new, and they can't just have a random offering rate between this and the reprints, because if you get 2 reprints and you're looking for the new cards, then you're just SOL. So I think,
Well, especially depending on what the reprints are, also
yeah.
like the
So I really wish Bandai would just stop doing promos. Just include them in the set as part of the set. Just just stop, Bandai. Um, but all of the Time Stranger stuff that we've seen so far, for me personally, has felt very underwhelming, like incredibly underwhelming. Um, like Hadesmon looks okay, but he's apps. Um, you have your Iliad stuff, which it seems like there's going to be several different Iliad decks, because of just how their colors are being used and distributed and what actually is getting cards. So you're going to have like your Aqua Iliad deck, and then you're going to have like your Yellow Iliad deck, and then you're going to have like your Purple Iliad deck, or your green, like purple green Iliad. So it feels like color pairings is where they're going with Iliad. And Titans feels very random. The options I feel like suck. Just because they have the link ability, and right now we don't have ways of using them for free. So if we can't use them for free, then and their main effect isn't good enough to warrant seeing play, they're just not going to be used. Period. Um, and Titans definitely feels like it's being its own deck. So, like, it almost feels like it wants to be like level 5 Mega Zoo in a sense. Like, just a lot of level 5s and level 6s. We have our classic free evolution stuff, which is like, yeah, that's gonna try to be the most broken stuff, is because free value is good value. So, I'm not like, based on the few bits of spoilers we do have, I'm not like wowed by the Time Stranger set. I think lore wise, what they're doing, like putting cards into lore, is fine. They've been doing a good job at that, but they always do. It's just right now they don't give me a reason not to like just continue playing Hoodiemon, or just continue playing Jessmon, or just continuing doing what you already were doing in terms of meta competitiveness. I think for casual so far, it's just another set. It looks fun. But that's all I can really say about it competitively. Is it looks fun, not competitive, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Do we have any other information on this set? So we know it's going to be Iliad, Time Strangers. We know that Atmon is getting the Hackmon line. We're getting Owen Dreadnought stuff. So yeah, just looks like a normal set. That's going to be coming out later. So next, what's the next product that comes out after that? Is it EX? Is it the advanced set, or like the reprint set, or is it EX11?
What's that here? It looks like it is EX11. That is officially released on February 13th of 2026.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right here. Boop boop boop. Ah, there we go. Okay, so EX11 is Dawn of Liberator, and this is just another Liberator set. Shoto gets a new level 7. We get to see Unchain become card, the main antagonist of Liberator. Um, this is basically just going to be the end of Liberator set, because it really feels like their story is wrapping up. Spoiler: Owen beats Zenith. Shocker, I know. Then the box toppers, we already know is going to be the unique emblems for the novel characters. We don't know if they're going to get level 7s or not. High chance they're not, because right now they're non-combatants. At least like in the story, they haven't really been doing any fighting for anyone or anything. And then we get, I think it is just going to be mostly Liberator stuff. They're not mentioning anything outside of like, hey, this is just a lot of Liberator. So based on trends, they're most likely going to throw Time Strangers a little bit of a bone here. Like maybe have some stuff in the set, like one evolution line or just a card or something, be in support of Time Strangers. It might support Omio Jutsus because it doesn't look like the Time Stranger set is going to do that as of right now. Obviously, we're still mid spoiler season, so there's more information on that to come. But yeah, it just looks like the Dawn of Liberator EX11 is just going to be a normal EX set. Nothing crazy, just Liberator focused. That brings us to the set that I am the least excited for. And I'm the least excited for this tentatively because this is very dangerous territory that they have played with before. So if they do not do this justice again, not good things are going to be happening. So that's why I guess I'm more cautious than anything. So in March, we get AD01, the advanced booster. So this is going to be their reprint booster. As far as reprints go, it says on the description that Omnimon and Royal Knights are going to be getting some reprinted cards. Imperial's going to be getting some reprinted cards, as well as other Digimon or Tamers we've seen in tournaments. That's the scary part, is these are going to be cards that we supposedly have seen in tournaments. Only problem is, power creep is a bitch. So, what tournament, like, where are they taking what cards we played from? That's my big question, is what time period are they going to be taking the reprints from? Are they going to be taking last year's reprint, like last year's good decks? Or is it going to be this year's good decks?
I feel like it's going to be like the kind of like all the way up to third quarter of this year. Because I mean, I feel like during the first quarter we had Imperial Jamon be a really meta deck and everything. We also had Omnimon that was in the second quarter that was really powerful. Gallimon was kind of the third quarter with that one. So that's maybe what I'm gonna be throwing a bone. I mean, I wouldn't mind if Imperial Jamon gets like Pyle Jamon gets reprinted, the one from BT16, because that card is kind of expensive.
Yeah, it does specifically say Imperial and Gallant are getting support, so I really would hope that at least the BT16 Pyildramon would get reprinted. But like, as far as Omnimon goes, like the big question is this going to be Omnimon Ace or BT22 Omnimon? Just as an example. So it's just like,
I would hope BT22.
now here's the only problem. BT22 Omnimon is not an expensive card. And I'm not saying like the reprint equity needs to be through the roofs, but like BT22 as a set did not do entirely well. So
BT22.
yeah, so like BT22 Omnimon's like $1 to $5 depending on where you're buying. Like it's not an expensive card. And also right now from the meta perspective, Omnimon had one format where he was actually like goated, and then he like just like Rocks and Minerals, one set where the deck was goated, the best deck in the format. I'm not saying Omnimon actually was the best deck of that format, but he was actually really good. And that probably was BT22. And then he just immediately got power crept. It's just like you had the cute combo of Omnimon Alter S, which would be the ideal Omnimon to reprint if they were to reprint literally any Omnimon. Not only because that card's more expensive, but that's like the best Omnimon.
What about the one for Liberator X Antibody Omnimon?
That would be a good one. I would be okay with that.
Yeah, because they do say Omnimon Royal Knights, so
Well, it's Omnimon, comma, Royal Knight members. So it's not specifically Royal Knights, but certain Royal Knight members, which is funny because Imperial Dramon is actually not a Royal Knight. So I guess that statement's kind of weird. Um, I don't know. That's actually funny. Rereading that, I'm like, Royal Knight members such as Imperial Dramon. I'm like, wait, no. Technically, Paladin mode formed the Royal Knights, but he's not a Royal Knight himself. But yeah, so they're trying to include competitive reprints. My only caveat is what competitive like time frame were they looking at? Because we know Digimon is really bad when it comes to their timely reprints. Like, oh, here's this reprint of a card you needed 6 months ago. So it's just like, cool, the value of the card tanked. We don't care about that card anymore. What are we doing
Yeah,
here?
yeah, because when they did the first reprint, RB01, they literally gave us block 0 cards, and we were in block 3. And I think the only 2 cards that we used in that entire block 0 was Matt Ashita and TK.
In
And
terms
I
of
think
low
that was
rarity cards, high rarity cards, we used the Ancient Greymon. I think that was in that set. Because that was the
oh,
Ancient
maybe it was
Greymon that
that.
was letting us OTK. Lucimon saw some light play. We unfortunately got back-to-back reprints of Magna Angemon, so his value like absolutely tanked harder than ever. But yeah, like when they did their first reprint set, it was of cards from the very beginning of the game, which nobody was playing with. Barely anyone was playing with some of those cards. And then some the Black Zero cards that we did need reprints of, we didn't exactly get reprints of. So it's just like, cool. That did us a total of nothing. Um then when it comes to the reprint set, they also say, this is the dangerous part. This is the part that I really hate and that pisses me off, is new cards with brand new text is going to be in this set as well. So just like RB01, we have a set with a slew of reprints and a small handful of new cards. And in RB01, the handful of new cards is what people really cared about, and the pull rates on those was really, really bad. So how are they going to fix that this time around? Because RB01 nearly ruined the entire game. It actually almost killed the entire game. It was that bad. So the fact that they're basically doing that same type of thing here is immediately like rings red flags in my brain. I don't know what your feelings are about new cards in a reprint set, but I hate it when they do that. I hate it.
Yeah, so my experience with it is like as I stated, I'm a former Yu-Gi-Oh player, so obviously we had Megatins like every year that would have reprints, but they would also throw in some new cards. Not crazy amount. I think it'd be like 5 or 10 new cards, but they would make them hard to get the new cards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it says
And they were kind
like
of like requirements. So I, as far as this one, it's like because I'm trying to think how because I'm thinking with RB01, I think what they it was like really hard to get the rares of the new cards.
yeah, the rares were more hard. They were harder to get than the super rares
Yeah,
because
I
of
mean,
just how poorly distributed that pack was in terms of like what cards ate up what slot.
yeah, because I mean, I'm looking at this right now because you got 36 commons, 28 uncommons, 56 rares, 39 super rares, 14 secrets, and 3 SP cards.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
know what
like
those.
the chase cards.
Oh yeah, duh, chase cards.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
because
at least
obviously
like
there's a lot more rares than there is the commons and uncommons. So
yeah, the thing with the new cards is the decks that it's supporting, at least what the website says, is it's going to include upgrades to Shine Greymon, um, Gamamon, and Adventures. So, like, those are getting some boosts, but it's just the fact that new cards are being mixed in with reprints is really what gets me on edge. Shine Greymon is definitely going to go through a lot of revisions because he's also going to be in the DATS deck. Um, so there's going to be a lot of Shine Greymon. Don't know if they're going to like make him have a new playstyle or if he's going to work with his old playstyle. That's to be determined later. But
I would imagine it had to be set up for the new Shine Greymon. Like for the I feel like it has to be set up for that.
most
You know,
likely,
give players an incentive to buy this product. Because why support the old Shine Greymon when there's a new one coming out?
yeah, it really just comes down to how the cards are going to be distributed because last time they were really bad. Um, on top of the fact that by the time the decks came out, at least like for North America or English in general, the new cards that were supposed to make new decks were already like not good. So like it doesn't seem like these will be not good. I'm just they're not supporting decks that we're currently already playing. So like it makes me question if the support for these new decks in this reprint set with the new cards in the reprint set are going to like how much power spiking they're going to have to do in order to make these new cards relevant, which is why I hate it when they do new cards in reprint products. And then what percentage is going to be new versus reprints? That's another thing. So there's a lot of unknowns, but it really puts the product in a very risky territory because like I guess part of the RB1 problem was they labeled it as like a high premium product, which is exactly what they're doing here. Because all the lineup will have luxurious processing of foil to make them more luxurious. So like RB01 was already more expensive for stores to buy, and then that flopped very hard to the point where stores just could not get rid of it. Like it was just a toxic asset, toxic product, and it sounds like they're literally just repeating the same thing here, where it's going to be more expensive for the stores to buy than your average booster.
Yeah, I definitely think though RB01's biggest problem was the cards they chose to reprint were just like so, and I mean so out of like just out of the time period or its league or anything like that. So I think so long if they do like within the past year, like I was saying, if they do BT16, Pyildramon, they do Omnimon X Antibody, for the Galamon, they could throw in the promo Galamon that kind of made a requirement. I feel like there's some other really good Galamon cards to have though.
Gallantmon X.
Like, you know, just stuff like that. Like if they threw all those in, I feel like it would make it better, so to say.
Yeah, like not they do have some really good cards that came out within the last year that do kind of need a reprint. I was going to say should, but nothing is like actually mandatory. But like it would be nice for certain cards to get a reprint cuz I know like Lucimon from EX, what is it? EX6.
Yeah,
That card desperately needs a reprint as well. Like a lot of
I think
cards
anything from
from BT16, EX6 definitely needs some reprints. I guess like technically,
absolutely.
yeah, BT17 could use a couple of reprints and EX7 wouldn't kill them either. Like it's that small time period where product was very tight. So like reprinting putting some of the reprint equity into some of those valuable cards that still see some play, like Hexablaumon would be a good reprint. Cherubimon Ace would be a good reprint. So, like, they have the reprint equity. It's just they need to use it wisely because if they give us another RB01 situation, I think the game is going to be in a very bad spot next year. Like, incredibly bad. Like right now, we're already seeing a great reduction in tournament play just because this whole entire competitive year, pricing was straight up awful. Like it was legitimately terrible pricing. Barely even worth the admissions to play in competitive. Because none of the cards were competitive. Like maybe 1 out of 12 was a competitive card. It's like, no. We they've always been really behind the eight ball when it comes to what needs to be reprinted, which is why I'm like super nervous for this set. And then their last bullet point that they have is they're gonna have more anime scene cards that have like a nice foiling to them. So, uh, yeah, curious to see how this is going to actually play out. Because this is going to be a very, very divisive set because a lot of stores, like I said, got burned from RB01 and fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. Is that how that saying goes? I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if
fool me
they
once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
yeah, so like stores are already going to be like they already had to have pre-purchased this, which is the unfortunate reality. Is like the way Bandai works is like stores have to pre-order and then Bandai prints based off of those pre-order numbers with a certain amount of extra percentage for overflow and for growth. Um and if stores order less of this, then there's less of this to go around. And because stores don't know what is going to be reprinted, that makes this a very, very questionable product for a lot of stores. Because I don't know about your store, but my store already is shrinking the amount of Digimon that they're buying because the last couple of sets have been absolutely awful in terms of performance. They just could not sell these sets to save their life, and they had to. I don't even think they discounted them. I think they just offered them up as like prizing, is because they can't get rid of them. No one wants to buy them, and the TCG marketplace price reflects that. Like you could buy BT23, which right now has some of the most competitive cards in the entire game. It's not even $50. Like if anything, it's just barely $50 with shipping. Like the set's not doing well. BT22 was kind of similar. It was like $60-$70. I know for a fact EX 10 tanked really badly, and EX9 did pretty poorly as well, and then had like maybe a small coming up, but like it still is selling severely below MSRP, which is not good for stores.
Yeah, because I know during Black Friday, my store was selling BT23, 22, and also EX10, and they were actually selling it for TCG player price and everything. I mean, I picked up one booster box of BT22 just because, like, well, I'm looking for the Yukos, which I got an alternate art of, so hey, pretty good so far. Uh,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's like obviously my store is like if they're selling it for TCG player price, that's probably the price that they paid for the box, so they're just trying to break even now at that point with those products.
Yeah, my store just did a flat 25% off on Bandai stuff. It was their most heavily discounted thing outside of board games and D&D stuff. So yeah, not necessarily the best of signs. I guess technically I lied. Spider-Man would have been the cheapest thing that was discounted. Because Spider-Man for Magic the Gathering is one of the most toxic assets. Nobody wanted that set. That set's hot garbage. And yeah, it shows the weakness of Universes Beyond. But I digress. Um, yeah, so they really have to be careful with what they decided to reprint in this reprint set. Otherwise, I feel like 6 months down the line, like if this reprint set sucks, Digimon is going to be astronomically shaken. Especially if they also don't manage their ban and restriction list for competitive play very well. I feel like based on like RB01 and Apocalypse, we could run into a very similar situation, and that's only going to further shrink the game, not grow the game. And we want growth. We don't want shrinkage. But
Yeah,
moving away from that negativity of a product, I'm not saying it's like entirely negative. It's just my personal feelings around reprint sets without them telling us anything in advance is already very cautious. It is cool. We actually are getting more starter decks. I feel like that's the one thing Digimon needs more of is more starter decks. You look at One Piece and they shat out starter decks left and right. They just pooped them out. It almost felt like every set had a starter deck. Like, we now are getting starter decks 23 and 24. One Piece already had starter decks 23 and 24 a while ago, and they have half amount of sets we do. So I'm just like, what are we doing here? Like, we need more starter product to actually get people into the game. So starter deck 23 is Beat Break, and we already know it's Glowing Dawn themed. So it's going to have more than just Tomoro and Gekkomon. So I'm curious to see where the anime by the time this deck comes out should be about halfway done, cuz the deck comes out on May 15th.
Yeah, and they're going to be revealing cards obviously before that, so probably like a month prior. So
Yeah, so with the
I
anime half over, I don't know how deep into the story that they're going to go, or if they're just going to literally do like the first arc and that's where the cards are being pulled from, where there's like no megas or like maybe one mega. um I don't know. It's going to be really weird.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously, like you kind of told me, like Krugermon's the champion, and then obviously he has an evolution, so they got at least a guaranteed of one ultimate level.
Yeah, like
Uh,
they could do Pandamon technically as like a second ultimate if they're
we
literally
could,
just
yeah,
going off of the first 12 episodes. So
they
we could
could.
have
They could
like
do,
Cougarmon, Chaparomon, we would have Wolvermon and whatever Gekkomon digivolves into as the champion lineup. And then the ultimate lineup could be something like Pandamon and the other guy. I don't know. But they are going to be introducing the dual cards mechanic. So whatever that's gonna end up being, that's gonna be premiered inside of the starter deck, similarly to how Aces they did it with Aces 2 years ago. So that means this is going to be the weakest version of that mechanic, which is unfortunate, but it's there to teach us the mechanic, which is the point. Um, then they're going to have a special Altar Gekkomon. That's the low pull rate card. And then this is. So I thought we were getting reprints of memory boosts in the Sakuyamon starter deck. But no, in BT 23 and. Or not BT. Starter deck 23 and 24 is when we're getting the two color memory boosts reprinted. So cool that they're finally going to start reprinting those.
yeah, I'm
Uh,
definitely glad for that.
And then starter deck 24 is Data Squad. So based on what we know from the reprint set, they're going to have a Shine Greymon. So this is most likely going to have another Shine Greymon. And then we know in BT25 it's going to support these starter decks more specifically. So there's going to be a lot of Data Squad love. I guess with that, we could probably just move on to. I don't know if they're going to do only 6 memory boosts or if they're going to do 12 memory
Yeah,
boosts.
yeah, because it says like 6 promos, which would be the memory boost, and you buy 2 of each starter deck, then you get your playset of 4.
Yeah, that's what they've done in the past, but because there's so many two color memory boosts, I don't know if one deck is going to have its own set and then the other deck is going to have a different set. And then that
The
forces
other
players to
method.
buy 4 copies of the starter deck or just suffer with 2 and having an incomplete set. I have zero idea.
Yeah, that's hard to say, honestly.
That's my only thought when it came to the memory boosts is like because we've only ever seen these reprints in either highly specific product or starter decks, like, and they don't print starter decks often enough just to try to burn through as many two color memory boost reprints as they can and use up all that reprint equity. I don't know if they're going to actually split them or if it's going to be the same set. I wish it would say, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'll give Bandai the benefit of the doubt and say it's just going to be the same set. The same set of 6.
Yeah, I would imagine so, because I mean, they're probably going to give us the first wave of dual memory boost colors. One, and then maybe if they give us another starter deck, which I would hope they would later on in the day, they would give us the other ones.
Yeah, so like ideally we used to get what? Two waves of starter decks a year. We would get a actual starter deck and then we would get an advanced deck. So maybe they could bump that up to 3 where it's just like you have starter deck set A, starter deck set B, and then advanced deck. I don't know. Um, I just don't know. That's too far down the line because again, these starter decks come out in May, so that's already halfway into 2026. And speaking of being halfway into 2026, Dual Revolution is the name of BT25. And as already mentioned, it's going to support Glowing Dawn and DATS. So DATS is the Data Squad starter deck, and Glowing Dawn is the Beat Break starter deck. So this is going to be where they get their direct upgrades. Let's pray they don't do the stupid thing and make secret rares mandatory 4-ofs. I hate it when they did that for the last couple of starter decks. I hated it. Then this set is also going to be Time Strangers focused, so we get upgrades to Time Stranger from BT24. So maybe this is where they're going to put some of the DLC cards or just whatever content they cover. This is just going to be the continuation of that. It's going to have the dual card mechanic as shown off in the starter decks. And they're introducing a new rarity, Ultimate Rare. So that's cool, I guess. We again don't really know much past the name. So if the chase
Yeah,
cards right now were like one on average 1 out of 3 cases, because technically it's like 1 out of every 2.5 cases or something silly, but I'll round it up. If the current chase is 1 in every 3 cases, how rare do you think these ultimate rares are going to be?
I feel like the ultimate rares, because I'm looking at the BT25 rarities. I mean, I feel like they're going to be just as rare as like SPs, so it's just a different name for SPs, I guess, or an official name, maybe. I mean, 1 in every 2 cases or 3, like you were saying. I'd imagine it's got to be.
I mean, they could technically lower it, so like they could still have, um, so there's 2 secrets in this set, but there's 4 SPs, so they could do 2 SPs based on the secret rares, and then they could have alt arts of the SPs be the ultimate rares. I don't know. It's most likely, like you said, probably just taking up the SP slot out of the ratios, because otherwise it doesn't make sense because we have the rarity breakdown and they don't specifically say ultimate rare anywhere. So I don't know. I think maybe they're doing this because they see that Digimon sets haven't been selling super well, so they want to try to increase the amount of chase that there is. I think that's the wrong way to go about it, but I don't know. Bandai be doing Bandai things. I think if they wanted to increase the value of sets, uh, what would they even do? Like, I'm just trying to think. BT23 flopped in terms of the secondary market, because it's like barely selling. And Hoodieman is one of the most powerful things next to Justmon and Royal Knights. So like, I don't know. If you can't make meta stuff sell, what actually is going to sell is the real question. Because Digimon right now doesn't really have a huge collector's market. So them trying to cater to the collector's market is weird to me. You know?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think what the BT25 is going to come down to is how important is this dual cards going to be? Because with aces, it seemed like it was a way to theoretically try to counter what the meta was being like an aggressive meta. So everyone was like buying like the ace set. I'm trying to blank what it was. Like BT14, I think it was.
Yeah,
Right?
BT
Yeah,
14
BT14.
started Aces, yes.
Yeah. So like, because everyone was buying BT14 because they wanted to try to get their hands on these aces. They wanted to see how good are these. And I mean, obviously there was like two good aces, Zudamon ace, and I think it was a green one. I don't remember what one it
Lily
was though.
Ace.
Yeah, Lily ace. Like obviously people were trying to get their hands on those ones.
Yeah, and then Angewomon Ace. Like, Aces have been pretty good for the most part. It's just what
Oh,
Bandai.
Mangamon ace. That was
Yeah,
the other really good one.
yeah, it's just what Bandai thinks players are going to be playing and how we're going to be using cards is like night and day levels of different compared to how we actually use them. So it's just like you said, Aces was supposed to be a defensive mechanic. Half the time we use them offensively. Like, I can't tell you how many times I was just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna stick Zudomon Ace in my Mirage Gaugamon deck because it does a very specific purpose in terms of what I need this card to do, which is bounce a Digimon back to the hand so it increases the hand size as a level 4 Digi, or not level 4, as a level 5 Digimon. And then on top of that, it also source stripped, so it really could start messing with the opponent's effects so that way it's easier for my overall aggression. Like, that's just an example of how this defensive card was then made offensively. So like I'm curious to see what the heck these dual cards are going to be. My thought process is I feel like maybe based on duo tamers, it's probably going to be Tamer and Digimon on one card, and you might be able to use either or. Like during the opponent's turn, it might count as a Tamer, but during your turn, it might count as a Digimon. I don't know. That's just my thought process.
Yeah,
Because I
it's
don't think they're going to do any like split card shenanigans or like double faced cards. It like we're just barely dipping our toes into tokens for Pete's sake.
yeah, because I mean theoretically they've done dual cards before. I think it was BT9 where you had like those dual tamers.
Yeah, the
So
duo.
yeah, the duo tamers. So it's really what are they going to be dual cards of? Like I feel like it has to be Digimon. Like is it going to be Terriermon and Lotmon working together? Like just stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, we're probably just reading too not hypothetical, literal. There we go. We're going a little too literal with this one, but like we thought that duo tamers was going to be something interesting and it wasn't. So
Yeah,
like, I'm not putting a lot of stock. Like, Aces is just Digimon, just with the Ace tag and an overflow mechanic, and it's just cheaper to use. So, like, it's not really that much special compared to a normal Digimon. More room to be broken, but also, like, it has the overflow to be the balancing act. So, I don't know. But both of our guesses is essentially two objects on one card having some level of modularity. That's probably the most vague we could probably be in agreement on in terms of what we think dual cards are going to be. Which brings us into the latest bit of news, which is the next extra booster, Digital World Shambhala, which is EX12. As of the recording of this video slash podcast, stores currently have 13 days to finish pre-ordering for the set that's coming out in July. Just keep that in mind. They have 13 days to buy a set that's coming out 7 months later. Yep, that's Bandai card games. They do this for all of their card games. So I'm not saying like it's not a smart business decision. It just is making it very unkind and unfriendly for LGSs because we have no idea what the meta is going to look like. We have no idea what any of the cards are going to be. And like based on some other card games like Magic the Gathering, literally spoiler season happens like maybe a month before stores actually buy the set. so that way they know how much they want to actually invest in the set. Which is why Spider-Man turned out to be such a colossal disaster. Well, I think stores also overbought that one just because it's Universes Beyond, and we're slowly trying to be trained that Universes Beyond is broken and good when it's not. So, again, different issue. But this is going to be focused on the third digital world, Shambhala. So that's the Chinese world, in a sense. And it's going to be based off of the LCD toys, Pendulum Colors, which is going to be 6 and 7. I'm not even going to pronounce those. So many Digimon like Seton Gokumon are going to be in here. What does he even look like? I'm just pulling him up real quick. Oh yeah, so we've seen Gokumon, but we have not seen Seton Gokumon, which is like the fiery version of him. So that's kind of cool. Then this includes other Digimon from the other Pendulum Colors. So it'll include more Deep Savers and Wing Guardians support, as well as Metal Empire and Virus Busters. So we finally get traits for those. Then it's going to be supporting the dual card mechanic. And it also is going to celebrate Ghost Games' 5th anniversary. So you get more Ghost Games support. So you'll get like more hero cards, more jelly cards, and more Angormon cards. God, why was that so? It was escaping me. And then this is supposed to power up the powered up Sirius stuff that comes out in AD01. So AD01 support is coming out in EX12 for Siriusmon only. I mean, I guess it makes sense because the DAT stuff is going to support the Shine Greymon that's coming out in that set, so whatever. Yeah, so how excited for this would you be?
I think it's going to depend on how well does Series 1 deck from 81, how good it is, and how these cards will look might determine it. But I'm looking at this like more of those DM traits like the DS, the Wing Guardians. Like, I don't know. It just really depends with this one. I mean,
Hey, don't you
it's
knock
not
on my
something.
Deep Savers. Like, Aegisdramon OTK is really fun.
No, Aegismon was good. Aegismon was good, but I don't like the other ones.
No, Wing Guardians is kind of mediocre, and Nature Spirits and Nightmare Soldiers that we got were aggressively mediocre.
Yeah, and like we had so many sets that were trying to support like the Wing Guardians, and it just never took off. Or I think there was like another one. I'm just drawing a blank what the 5th one was.
No, all we had was Nature Spirits, Deep Savers, Nightmare Soldiers, and Wing Guardians. We haven't had any others. So now they're going to be introducing Metal Empire and Virus Busters. So I think all that's left is Jungle Spirit or Jungle Troop and Draconic Roar, which was an entire set, but they didn't apply this type of card templating to it. So we're eventually going to be getting a redux of EX03 in a sense as a deck. What other families were there? I know there's 9 families. So what's the last one? Digimon family. Yeah, so we have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're getting, yeah, so all we're missing is Jungle Troop and Draconic Roar after we get Virus Buster and Metal Empire. So there's only 8. I thought there was 9 for some reason. Okay. I mean, it's cool that they're almost done with them. It's a shame that everything outside of Deep Savers was kind of mid. And Deep Savers is only good because Aegisdramon is like incredibly strong, and the amount of fish support really did a lot of heavy lifting to actually make Aegis a very strong deck. And by very strong, I mean at least competent. From a competitive perspective. Again, have to put that asterisk there. Competitive perspective. Casually, all of the decks are fine. They're fun. And that's what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is currently all that we know about the future of Digimon. So what do you think about, like, taking a step back from each of the sets, looking at the bigger picture? What are your actual thoughts about the direction of the game based on this 7th month outlook?
I mean, 7 month outlook, that's like 7 different types of products. I mean, technically six if you want to argue that both starter decks are kind of like the package deal kind of thing, but 6 different products in like 7 months, like that's kind of a lot to ask. I mean, I'll probably do something that I could buy products of, but that's quite a bit of products. I mean, I might not be able to buy as much just with all of these different products, but I might even pick and choose which ones I even buy. Because, like I said, this EX12, just the basic description of it, nothing about it seems pleasing to me. The AD01, it depends on the reprints. If the reprints are cards I need to complete my playset stuff, then yeah, I'm gonna buy that. Otherwise, if it's gonna be the same situation where it's like block 01 and we're in block 5, I'm not worried about getting that then.
I just realized that we have a set coming out in January, then we have a set coming out in February, then we have a set coming out in March. We skip April, have a set coming out in May, skip June, and then have a set coming out in July. So like the first quarter of 2026 is like jam packed of product, and then we're literally getting one every other month. Like, I do think that is kind of nuts. Because if that pacing continues, that means so July, August, so September we should get something. Then we'll probably have something in October, and then maybe something in either November or December. So like I mean, technically this year we've had 7 sets period. 4 main sets, 3 EX sets. So I don't know if they're going to try to match that speed or exceed that speed because of the introduction of AD01. Because if they keep to that and they do 4 main sets and then 4 supplementary sets, that's 8 sets in a single year. That's a lot. Like, I'm sorry, that's a lot.
Yeah, like if ADA could take maybe the spot of an EX set, I think I'd be fine with that.
I mean, it should realistically, like, they but Bandai doesn't have a reason not to just keep pumping. And I think that's like part of my big fear is if they keep pumping and they don't actually apply, I hate to use the word value to it, but if these sets don't do well and they keep pumping and pumping, stores are going to eventually get burnt out themselves because players are burnt out themselves. And then that's going to lead into some issues later down the road. So like I really feel like Bandai in 20 I'll just be generous and say 2026 is going to be a watchful year. I think depending on how 2026 pans out, 2027 is either going to be another really decent year or that's going to be the year that things start to get rough. Like, based on this outlook and based on everything that we've previously experienced within the game, like, Bandai really needs to shape up when it comes to how they actually treat the product and how they treat the players and all that stuff. Because if like, let's just say, tournament wise, the prizing sucks. Well, that gives players less reason to play. which gives them less reason to buy product. And let's just say they handled their bans and restrictions just as poorly next year as they did this year, then we're going to be in 6 months of awful, like, metas, which, if players aren't enjoying the game because the meta is pretty bad, then that's going to ruin the competitive scene on top of poor tournament prizing. Like, they really need to prove themselves outside of the leftover hype that's being carried from 2025 into 2026. Because leftover hype, we still have Beat Break, we still have Liberator, and we still have Time Stranger, technically, because, like you said earlier, the DLC is going to last midway through 2026. So they could still keep those 3 hype trains going, but once those 3 hype trains are done, like, if the mobile app doesn't come out, I really don't know what they're actually going to do. I don't. And not saying that's a problem. I just don't know. It puts us in very uncharted waters, I guess. So, but as far as things that I'm excited for, I don't actually know, to be honest. I think maybe Beat Break, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, based on what the last 3 sets have been like, the last 3 have not been motivational buys for me, so to say. I mean, technically, I guess I could even argue that the whole, what was it, that adventure set, like, it was just kind of a meh for me. So I guess 4 maybe. It's just, I don't know. It's just something about the way they've been designing these sets. It feels different to what they had done in the past, and it just like kind of makes me wish that they would go back to the way they were designing the sets.
No, I do feel like something post unification had changed, and not necessarily a change for the better. It definitely feels like, from my perspective, deck building has been more linear because they've been forcing these trait based archetypes down our throats, and they already have shown that they can't even balance those trait based archetypes very well. So I realistically don't know what they're doing in terms of, like, the designers, because it already feels like they don't playtest their game, or if they do, it's such small playtesting that they probably are just trying to find, like, the most egregiously broken stuff, um in terms of, like, basic balancing, not actual balancing. uh and I have no idea if this is because of the new designer still that we got, like, a year ago, or if they already replaced her with a different designer and they didn't tell us that. Like, I don't know, but it does feel like ever since unification, something about the game has definitely changed. So I don't know if that's for the better or for the worst. Only time will tell. I guess I just need to know more to be more excited. Like, just having headlines isn't enough to, like, whet my appetite. Um I mean, it's cool that Dats is coming back. I did like Data Squad a lot, so maybe that's something I'll be, like, interested in. Like, BT25 definitely feels like it's going to be more of my set. Um and just like BT24 is most likely going to be your set.
Yeah, I mean, it if Time Stranger pans out the way I'm thinking, where they're actually going to be um trying to make like each of the Olympians like kind of paired with another, and you get like 6 different decks from that. That's kind of more up my alley, and I'd be interested in trying to explore that.
I mean, so far it seems like that's what they're trying to do, and I think, like, that's pretty, that's good design. because then it also opens up flexibility to mix and match other things, because like it allows you to do any two pairings that you feel like you would want to do, which I think is really cool. Because let's just say um, you don't have to play Venusmon with Neptune, even though that's like their designed pair. You could be like, okay, what happens if I do Venusmon and Myrmecusmon? Like, I think that would be pretty cool because they do share blue. So it's just like, yeah, it allows you to be a little bit more flexible there and actually have good deck creativity. And right now, so far, Titans feels really boring in contrast, because so far we haven't really seen anything that's supposed to separate Titans from, yep, this is just the Titan deck. Versus Iliad, where it's just like, oh yeah, these are very meant to be their own thing, but can support another thing. So I'm curious to see how the rest of BT24 comes out, as that is the next set coming out in a month. God, so many sets so quickly. Um, and I do need to finish Time Strangers. But I just got Pokemon ZA. I've put zero time into that. Um, and a lot of other Switch stuff, but that's a content creation issue where it's just like I feel like I have to do something on camera in order for it to be worth my time. So getting out of that mindset is so far proving to be very difficult, just like getting out of a competitive mindset and trying to accept more casual tendencies is very difficult. But yeah, so I think that's all we got. I think based on this timeline, it just feels like more Digimon. Like that's my big takeaway. It just feels like more Digimon. We'll see how things actually pan out, because right now we know very little outside of like what sets are coming out and when. But I'm curious to see, like I said, once this residual hype from 2025 dies down, what are they going to do? So that's my big takeaway. You got any final thoughts, Jay Stewart?
Um, right now all I can say is, we'll just have to see where Bandai goes with their products, of how they're going to make their products. I mean, like I said, depending on Time Stranger, like, I mean, will determine if I actually really buy into that for its set. As far as its future products, I mean, I need more details before I can make a more decisive decision. I mean, like, thankfully, I'm not a store. I don't need to worry about this stuff, but at the same time, I am also kind of worried for stores that are forced into this position where they have to buy these sets like months and months in advance, and there's no, like, the players don't know anything, so it's like literally a big risk that the stores have to take to buy this product.
Yeah, I mean, Digimon's sales wise are okay for the time being in terms of its like position in the greater sphere of the TCG atmosphere. But with Riftbound coming out and indie card games coming out, and the overall quality of games coming, like that just have been coming out, like it's it's definitely rough if you're not the big three, and even a lot of people are looking at leaving the big three because they all have their own separate issues. um so like it just feels like there's a lot of god, not turnover, not turmoil, I'm looking for a different word. um I guess there's no real dedication, I guess, to be locked into a single TCG anymore, because there's so many and they're all of pretty high quality. So, yeah, I'm. It is unfortunate for stores to be in that position, but they had. That's just how you be a TCG shop, I guess. You just try to take your risks and manage and mitigate those risks. So if that's all you got and that's all I got, I guess we could sign out. So any listener who actually made it to the end, we appreciate every single one of you. Feel free to tell us your thoughts about any of the subject matter down in the comments below. And I guess we'll see you next time. Later.